Hi, I'm Dave Nauber. I'm the brand director for Classé, and I'm here in Denver at ListenUp to tell you about the Sigma Series AMP2 and AMP5. So we've got these two amplifiers, a stereo amp, the AMP2, and a 5-channel, the AMP5. From the front, you can see they're absolutely identical, the same size, only one button on the front, power button. This button is also used to serve as a user interface if you needed to change an operating mode. So we have an auto standby feature which can be enabled using this button while you push that in while you plug the power into the back. And also something called Wake-on-Lan, which has to do with automation systems or control systems that need to be able to talk to the amplifiers even if they're in a standby mode. So those can be addressed also from the standby, and that's all in the owner's manual. The important bits, of course, are around the back, so I'm just going to move this stack around for you. And here we are. So you can see there are a lot of things that are identical between the amplifiers. There's a set of connectors here on the back. One is used for RS-232 control, which is a way of an automation system gaining access to the amplifier. If we go further to the right, we have infrared in and out. So if you have an IR control system and you want to connect things together with that, that's an 1/8" mini plug for that. There's also the DC trigger connections in and out, which likewise can be daisy chained from one to the next. You'll see that we have a variety of input connectors. The input connectors are RCA for single-ended connections and XLR for balanced connections. The XLRs all have these gold pins in them. The gold pins are called shorting pins, and they're used to make sure that there's no noise that can be propagated into the system if you happen to be using the single-ended connections. But if you want to use the balanced connection, you definitely just take those shorting pins out and plug your cables right in. So the stereo component has both single-ended and balanced for both channels. And for the 5-channel amplifier, you'll notice that it only has balanced connections for 2 of the 5 channels. On the outputs, you see speaker terminals, 5-way binding posts. And on the stereo amplifier, there are 2 sets of binding posts for each channel. And this is to facilitate bi-wiring. So if you have some speakers that can accommodate bi-wiring, which is basically 2 sets of connectors per speaker, then you have the corresponding 2 sets of connectors here on the power amplifier. On the 5-channel, there wasn't enough room to provide that number of connectors, so each channel has just a single pair of output connectors. So I would like to show you a couple of other things. To do that, we're just going to take a look at the 5-channel amplifier. One of the things that is, I think, very interesting is that if you want to rack mount this amplifier, the rack ears are stored in the back of the unit. So the side panel is actually part of the rack arrangement. So if you want to do a rack mount, there are 2 screws that hold the side panel in place. Remove those. This simply comes off. We just flip it around and put it there, put the screws back, and now we have a rack mount. And if you watch the unboxing video, you'll see that there are some black anodized covers which can be used to cover the place where the rack screws are.